Hi, and welcome to another episode of Miracles in Faith. And today I have a very special guest with me. Now, not that any of my guests have not been special, but this one is particularly special because he's my oldest brother. So welcome, Fred Snider.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Fred, tell me a little bit about life as you see it today. What makes you get up in the morning?
Because in the morning I do my devotions, and I have over 50 people that I send something out to.
If somebody wanted to be a recipient of those devotions, how would they find you?
Oh, they would have to, because I usually send something else on Facebook. And I'll send the same thing I send to everybody in my friends list, and I'll also send it out to the general public. So there's a few people that like to get that without having to be a friend. For them, it works out. For me, whatever doesn't. I take a picture of what I'm reading that I think, and then I send it out by text individually.
Fred, before all this technology and before all of these things, we grew up in a Christian home, and a home that had a lot of responsibilities and a lot of belief that you carry your responsibilities and carry them forward. Do you think that served you well throughout your life?
When I was younger, I felt like the whole weight of the world was on my shoulders. Felt like it was a heavy responsibility being the oldest and responsible for being a good role model to my brothers and sisters, but also obedient would be the word to my parents. So now that I've moved out and I've raised 3 of my own, I don't have to perform for anyone except for the Lord, who has brought me to where I am at today.
So have you always been faithful to God?
No, I have not.
Before we go to that topic, Fred, you were talking about feeling like you had the weight of the world on you. How old were you when you felt that way?
I think I was 11 or 12.
So a little young. I would imagine that would feel like a big heavy weight. When you graduated from high school, went off to college, did you also feel that sense of duty of being the eldest, or did you have a feeling or a sense that you could break loose?
I thought that maybe I could play hooky, that I from being the oldest brother and go out and be sow some wild oats, so to speak.
I think that's kind of typical as an undergrad, don't you?
Yes. The other thing of that was that I had a mother that prayed for me. And so every time I did something that was questionable, I knew in my back of my mind. I don't know if you've ever seen the little devil on one shoulder and the little angel on the other.
That's called your conscience, Fred. So a growing adult, there's almost a necessity for you to kind of like be a little wild. You know, some people's idea of being wild is completely out of control, where you might have thought, okay, well, I want to be a little out of control. But your own sense of that moral compass in you that brings you back, that says, there's somebody else that cares for me. There's somebody else that is holding me to a higher standard even when I can't. Are those the kinds of things that bring you in or bring you back in?
When I was working and when I got out of college, I didn't quite make it through, and God told me that I had to go back and work for my dad. I told him, Dad, you know what, forget plastering. I'm going to be a college guy, and I'm going to go to school, and I'm going to be a pilot. Well, that didn't quite work out, and I had to come back eat humble pie. And it worked out well, what God wanted for me, because I don't know if you're familiar with the Old Testament, in the book of Daniel, chapter 5, verse 5, it says, God wrote on the plaster wall. Sent a message to me that that's what I'm going to do for the rest of my life. And when I accepted that, it changed everything. But what didn't change was that my dad taught me. And I definitely became a workaholic, because I relished the fact that I could get up and I could do this and make pretty good money at it. Back in 1972, I think I was making $30,000 a year.
That was a lot of money. Do you think money changes you?
When you want to start getting things that help change your life for the better. And also, let's face it, when you've got 3 kids to feed, Dad said, you're going to be buying lots of diapers and liking it. He was right.
Did you really like it, Fred?
I did. I did like two girls and a boy, and an experience that I would never trade for the world, because as I see them now, in total different. They picked up that work ethic, and they are model. I would say Jennifer's a workaholic.
They're all hard workers, and Fred, I think that you can thank upbringing and the examples that our own parents set for us. There was a period of time, Fred, when the kids were growing and you were newly divorced. What was that period of time for you? Because I think, as every adult thinks about their life and their kids, their responsibilities, when a relationship falls apart, there's still a lot of things that are now even more important. Can you guide me a little bit in that period of time for you?
Because it was like 13 or 14 years that we were married, and then she filed for divorce. The best thing about that I was able to focus my mind is back of my mind and in my heart, I knew that the kids would come around to me sooner or later, even though that they had moved quite a distance away. In my trade, this is Southern California, and I had to stay here to do the work that I could do. There was about several years, I think, that I wasn't able to see the kids, and they were growing up. It was hard at times because I wanted to see them, but there was also times when I knew that I had to stay working and to keep that bitterness under control.
Today, Fred, when a divorce happens, the parents have a lot more obligations to work things out for the better for the children, because the children suffer through this. That kind of separation that you're talking about could not have been easy on them either, any more than it was not easy on you. Have you been able to mend those relationships with your kids?
Oh, yes. The better part of that deal was that we never put down the other person in that relationship, because that was their mother. Just because we couldn't work it out didn't mean that we had to try to poison the kids on each other.
You've remarried, but there was a period of time where that wild Fred came back. Can you take us back?
It was a time just after Woodstock. We're sort of like hippies and stuff like that, and LSD and all that kind of stuff. Be out there, be a free spirit, so to speak. It all comes at a cost.
What was the cost for you?
Almost losing it mentally because of the LSD experiences, but the moving away from that Christian background into a life of, let's say, a prodigal son.
Well, the prodigal son has to come back home first. So He leaves home. You're now talking about a period of time that, did you step away from your faith, or was faith always strong for you, Fred?
Put him in the back seat.
So throw him in the back seat, he's along for the ride, but you're in control.
Yeah, when I'm in control, it's a wreck. I don't know how many wrecks I had. Many. And I'm not just talking about automobiles, but my life turned into a wreck, and alcohol took control.
What did an average day look like for you?
Oh, the average day was go to work. Construction site back then, it was not uncommon to drink a case of beer while you're working, and then a couple of cases after work. This is why alcoholism is so dangerous. You're in control for so long, then it controls you.
Wait a minute. First, you're talking about a little bit of liquid courage, where you start telling that part of you that says this is dangerous, and that part of you, that moral compass that says maybe we better just hold off on that drinking. Maybe we should come off the scaffolding so we don't fall. That common sense now is not so common anymore, is it?
No, it would have killed me, except the fact that if you get a DUI, which I had gotten to, finally something's rocking in your mind saying, this is not working. And when I did, then I'm faced with that. Maybe I am an alcoholic. When you go to AA, the common response, I know you haven't gone in there, it says, hi, I'm Fred, and I'm an alcoholic. And they say, hi, Fred. And so everybody is there. When you finally admit that what you were, then there's steps that you can take to try to come back to normality.
Habits kind of creep up on you, don't they? And pretty soon what you thought was something that you could handle is I can't go without, have to have. They always say that a turtle doesn't sneak up on you, but how does drugs or alcohol sneak up on you?
That was the part of the sneaky, baffling part, is that you think that you control it after so many wrecks and so many times in jail and how many cars are destroyed. And it was a contributing factor in the divorce. So with all that, you tend to, I'm the problem. How does the old saying go? I have seen the enemy. It is me.
That must be a scary revelation. Now, you say that that was a contributing factor in your marriage. Obviously, it broke a relationship apart. If you don't fix it, will it just simply fix itself or go away?
No, it will never go away. It'll take you out. Believe me, that's where I was headed, because I know many other people had that same situation happen to them, and they realized alcohol was a contributing factor. But underneath all that is just those symptoms is a struggle. Now I realized that when I decided to get rid of the alcohol, I had to take that level now a little bit higher and a little bit higher, because what I did with alcohol that consumed my life, now I'm going to be born again believer, and now I'm going to give my life full more ahead. And every day I get up, I thank God. Now I'm trying to warn other people not to go that direction.
How many times did you quit this lifestyle?
100 times. As long as you keep trying, there's hope for you. When you said that there is no more hope, and I'm hopeless, but that was never instilled in me from my mother or from my dad. There was no quitting. After those years of punishing myself, I had a chance to get back into a church orchestra, and I did. It's allowed me to share with some of the Alzheimer patients at some of the convalescent homes. Just go in and play for them. A couple other convalescent ministries that I've been involved in, and being able to use my talent as a violinist.
Music really is the soul's own speech, isn't it?
Yes, it's not for money anymore. It's all about pleasure of making somebody else happy.
But isn't that essentially what we are here for, Fred, is to serve others? I don't care whether you're teaching or, for me, selling real estate or coaching other people. It's finding the gift of your service to help them fix problems or to sort things out or to just simply guide them to a place where their soul can be open.
The Great Commission, when he tells us to love him with all my mind, soul, and strength, and to love my neighbor as myself, that means I have to do this just like it would have done for me. And in many cases, it was done for me.
Was there somebody that was really instrumental in your life in helping you get the help that you needed and support that you needed to have to keep you on track?
Deborah has been a constant joy. She allows me to use my talents, and the rest of my life, if I don't make a dollar, and all I do is help give and love my wife and love those around me, I have gained more than anyone out there as far as money-wise or kudos or whatever it is that people try to get after.
I think something from my own observation, Fred, is that when you were coming back into your own, it really was the gift that somebody saw so much more in you than you could see in yourself at that time. What did that mean to you?
When that month of sobriety and reflection really was a blessing for me.
Do you think that you were hiding before that? Not being honest, as you said?
I wasn't honest with myself or with people around me. It goes back to the alcohol days when you think you could handle things. So if you tell a little lie, it's okay, but you're lying to yourself.
But somebody wasn't buying it, so they encouraged you to get into the Calvary Ranch program. What did that mean for you in terms of fellowship with other people?
That I wasn't the only one going through these problems. It was a reflection that could see that there was a light at the end of the tunnel. I know that God has still working on me until that day when we part from this earth.
So, Fred, you've got a big birthday coming up. You're still working. When do you finally get the okay to say, I don't have to get on that scaffolding anymore?
I'm 71, so there's things that I can't do, but there's things I still can do. So as I'm starting to lose some of my strength, I have to admit that I have to do other things that I still can do.
What would you say today at 71 to that 35-year-old young man?
Wise up, fly right, fly straight. But God knows every moment of your life. So don't waste it. And if you did make mistakes, go back to square one and where you were doing good, allowing Him to help guide you through life. He wants the best for you.
Fred, thank you so much for joining us today and giving us a breath of inspiration and hope, peace, and joy. Thank you.
You're sure welcome.
Yay! Good job, Dad.
Oh, Shenandoah. Oops, I lost my pick.
Oh, don't go away. We're just getting started. Let me just tell you. So this is my oldest brother. He looks old, doesn't he?
Yeah, he is old. Older than dirt.
Older than dirt, okay. Fred, you want to say anything?
I love you.